Buddy, Jeremiah here. Today we're going to do the Build Your Own Clone DS1 upgrade mod. Recently I noticed on their site that the mod kits for regular pedals were no longer available, and I found out that they stopped selling them. So I had reached out to Keith, the owner over there, and asked if we could go ahead and make a walkthrough of this mod since I've performed it before and share it with everybody, and he has allowed us to do that. So make sure to go and thank Keith for that, and if you're interested in building clone pedals, make sure to go to their site, buildyourown.clone.com. They have really good stuff over there. I have built a lot of their stuff, and it's always been a really good experience. So we're going to go ahead and go down to the tabletop, and I'm going to show you what parts you need, what tools you're going to need, and we're going to get started. Alright, so here we are. You don't need a whole lot to perform this mod. You are going to need a couple of tools. So obviously you're going to need your pedal. Make sure that it's one of the moddable ones. They stopped using the through-hole parts around 2017, 2018. So make sure, open up your pedal, make sure it's got through-hole parts. You're going to need your wire clippers. You're going to need a soldering iron and solder. Some way of desoldering, whether that's desoldering wick or a pump. I like the pump. And then there's a few components. There's only a handful here that you need. So okay, what you need is one 470 ohm resistor. You need one 2200 ohm resistor. And then you also need one 150K ohm resistor. That's 150,000 ohms. Under the capacitors, you're also going to need a 0.022 microfarad capacitor, a 0.033 microfarad capacitor, and 3 1 microfarad capacitors. You're also going to need 2 diodes. 1N4184 is the model on those. And that's all the actual components that you actually need. So not a lot of parts. It's a pretty simple mod, but it is really killer, and it makes this pedal a lot better. So let's open this up and take a look. And of course, I neglected to mention you need a screwdriver, obviously, to open your pedal. So what we're going to do here is just take off. Well, obviously, if there was a battery in here, you would want to open this up and disconnect the battery, but I know there's not one in there, so I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, put all your screws to the side. Make sure you don't lose them. Take the back plate off. And then the little plastic plate, you want to make sure and hold on to that. And here we are. This is our circuit board. We're going to kind of pop this out. And get there we go. And you can, if you pull it down, you can get the power outlet there kind of out of the way, and you can open it up. So if you've never seen the inside, that's what it looks like. Alright, so let's get the soldering iron fired up, and we're going to go through this component by component, and I'm going to walk you through it, and we're going to get this guy modded. Let's go. First off, I want to go ahead and apologize. It's going to be noisy. I have my soldering fan running to pull away the fumes, so it's going to be a little loud. I apologize for that. I will try to talk loud and clear so that you can hear me. So, the first thing we're going to do is we need to remove capacitor 3, which is I think it's a 0.047 microfarad capacitor. And if we look at our board here, it's this guy right here. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and replace capacitor number 3 right here. So let's go ahead and remove that guy. So look on the back of your board, determine where it's soldered. So it's soldered right here. So get our soldering iron and make sure our solder pump is cocked, and let's get to it. So just lay the iron down on the solder point and just let it sit there a minute until you see the solder start liquefying. And once you're confident, go ahead and pull some of that solder off. I like to have like a little disposal tray, so I'll just flick off the extra solder in there. It's getting pretty close, so just do that a couple of times. And what that'll do is loosen this component and make it so that we will be able to pull it out from the other side. All right. And then let's go over here, and you can see it's already kind of popped out. Boom. So we got the first cap out, and we're going to replace that with a 0.033 microfarad. It should have 333 on the body. That's this cap right here. And we're going to go ahead and drop that in. Alright, and then bend the legs to hold it in place, like that. And then get your solder, clean your tip, tin it. Alright, now let's get this done. Hold your iron on the component, and then just bring your solder in from the side. Give you a nice little bead, and go to the other side and do the other leg the same way. And you want to try to make sure that your solder flows through the board so it makes a nice solid connection. Alright, next thing we're going to do, we've got to snip the leads. So get your wire snippers and just snip the leads as they come out of the solder mound like that. And that's the first component installed. So let's keep going. So the next thing we got to do is remove resistor 6. It's a 100K resistor, and it's right near the component that we replaced. So it's this resistor right here. So again, we're going to flip it over. Make sure we know where the solder points are. So I'm pretty sure it's these 2 points right here. And we're just going to repeat the process we did for the capacitor. So we'll get the soldering iron here and our desoldering sucker, and we're going to hold down the soldering iron on the point, suck off the extra solder, do the other side. Luckily, of course, since these are professionally manufactured, it's usually a very clean board. You don't have to worry about trying to... no, it's still attached. And then sometimes you'll see, like, the resistors, the leads are bent, so you want to make sure that they are free to move when you get it on the other side here. And I guess, you know, it probably wouldn't hurt to have some needle nose pliers for like resistors and stuff to pull them out. They're not necessarily required, but they could be helpful, right? And it's loose. And I'm just applying just a little pressure, and then boom, pops out. All right. So now in its place, we're going to put this, well, it's supposed to be a single 150K resistor, but I didn't have one. So we're doing a 100K and 50K in series. So let me go ahead and get this going here. So, little trick is get you some of this blue tack stuff, and you can use it to hold these little bitty components very still and allow you to make solder connections pretty easily. I do have helping hands, and those are good for certain situations, but I find for situations like this just works a little better. All right, so boom, we've got them connected. Just like that. Okay. And I'm going to snip the tips here at the top. So now we have something like that. And you'll see that we're going to do the same thing with the diodes here in a minute. All right, now that I have my resistor ready to go, we're going to go ahead and put it in the board, right in that same slot where R6 was. And since this isn't, they're not a polarized component, it doesn't really matter which way it goes in. Bend your leads to hold it in place. And let's go ahead and get this soldered in. So same thing as before, clean the tip. Get it a little bit tinned up and put it down on your component. Let it warm up and then bring in that solder. All right, other side. There we go. Now let's go ahead and snip these leads off. There we go. Now our makeshift 150K resistor is installed here next to our cap that we installed. So let's see what's the next part we need to do. All right, so now we are gonna remove resistor number 9, R9. It's a 220 ohm resistor, and it is a little farther up the board. You can see, hopefully you can see, there's this small ceramic capacitor here. It's right above it, right there. So we need to get that guy out of here. So let's go ahead and find this on the opposite side of the board. It's gonna be this guy right there. All right. Same deal as before. We're gonna desolder it. So just hold your iron on the spot. Wait for it to liquefy and suck it up.
Is it okay, Leia?
You guys probably can't see her, but my little baby girl Leia, my little pupper dog, is sleeping under my desk right now. She has a bed under there, and that's where she likes to be if Daddy's in the studio. Alright, let's just make sure these are disconnected. Alright. Set that down. Let's grab these pliers here. And let's try to remove that resistor. And you don't want to really tug on it necessarily. I mean, you don't want to put a lot of force behind it. Just a little wiggling. Boom. There you go. All right. So we're replacing that that resistor R9 with the 470 ohm resistor. That's this fella here. And let's go ahead and get that installed. So just bend these legs. Pull it through the board here. Bend the legs out, and let's solder it in. Clean our tip of our iron. Tin it up and get started. There we go. That resistor is now installed. Okay, got to clip the leads. So you can see we're still making pretty good progress. All our components are installing just fine. All right, now we're going to remove capacitor 5. This is a 0.068 microfarad capacitor, and it's just above where we installed resistor 9. So it's this capacitor right here. Alright, so let's again, got to find our solder points on the back here, and let's get it removed. Yeah, here we go. I found it. Where they say measure twice, cut once, or whatever. I think that's ready. So open it up here. Let's grab our cap. And yep, pops right out. And we are replacing cap 5 with one of these 1 microfarad capacitors. So let's go ahead and get it popped in here. Yeah, it's kind of a fatty, but it will fit. And then let's bend our leads and get it soldered. Clean our tip. Tinned up. And let's get this installed here. All right. Go ahead and snip our leads. And that one is done. Got that installed. And that's what we're looking like so far. Alright, now we're going to replace resistor 13, which is actually pretty deep up in the board here, with our last resistor. What's in there now is a 4K7, so that's 4,700 ohms. And it's the very farthest resistor back here. So it's this guy back here. So we got to get that guy removed and replaced. So let's get it done. Get her done. Whatever happened to Larry? Larry the cable guy. So I guess once everyone found out he wasn't a real redneck, maybe he wasn't as popular. I don't know. All right. There we go. Let's go ahead and pull this one out. I guess I didn't get it quite loose. Let's try that again. There we go. I think that did it. Hopefully. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's get our last replacement resistor installed here, which is the 2K2. So that's 2,200 ohms of resistance. All right. Push it through. Let's bend our leads and solder it up. Clean the tip. Tin the tip. And we have liftoff. Okay, that one's done. There we go. Okay, now we gotta snip the leads here. That's done. All right. So we are getting real close to being done here. I think we only have a few more components to install. So now we're going to remove the electrolytic capacitor C8, which is right next to the resistor we just removed. It's a 0.47 microfarad resistor that we're going to remove. And it's this one right here. Okay? All right, let's get it desoldered. All right, that's desoldered. Let's go ahead and pull the cap out from the other side here. Come on out. There it is. And in its place, we're dropping another one of these 1 microfarad capacitors. So let's go ahead and get it installed here. Just like that. Bend our leads. There we go. And let's get them soldered in. Clean the tip. Tin it. Tin it. And there we go. All right, let's snip the leads. And that's what we're looking like now. Got the next thing we're going to do is remove capacitor 9, which is another electrolytic 0.47 microfarad. So it's this guy right here. This one right here. So let's go ahead and find and remove it. So it's that right there. Okay. Found our spot on the board. Time to desolder. Alright, that's desoldered. Let's pull the cap out, just like that. And I assume, let me just double check. Yep, we're putting in the last of the 1 microfarad capacitors, and it goes right here. Just like that. Alright, so same thing as before, clean the tip, tin it, solder. Alright, there we go. Snip these tips. Sounded like a circumcision joke, didn't it? Snip these tips. Is that what the doctor says? Alright, so now we're going to remove D5, which is a diode. It's actually just directly under where we placed that capacitor. It's that top diode right there. And we're going to remove it, and we're going to replace it with these two right here. So almost got that one ready to come out. Just be sure that lead is free. Yep. And let's go ahead and get this little fella out. Let go. Come on. It's free, it's just got a hook. There we go. Alright. So what we're going to do is kind of the same thing we did before with the resistors. We're going to put these in series. So, but when you do this, you want to make sure that both the stripes are going in the same way. So you're going to have one stripe going up and one stripe going down. So we're going to stick them down in here in our blue tack. And let's solder these two together real quick. There we go. And it's going to look just like that other one, like an X. All right. tips at the top. All right, and that leaves you with this. Now, you gotta put this in here. And you wanna make sure this is oriented in the right way. So basically what we're doing is we're adding 2 diodes facing the same way, but it still needs to be opposite of the diode that you already have still installed. So just make sure that if the stripe is on the left, go to the right. If it's on the right, go to the left. All right. So you're going to feed it through, and it's going to kind of stand there like that. Kind of like these resistors down there, right? And then bend the leads, right? And now, let's solder it in. Clean the iron, get it 10, and solder away. And there it is. Clip these leads off. And that's it. Oh, no, I'm wrong. We still got 1 cap left. I tried to run the victory lap too soon. We still have C10. We got to replace C10. And that's a 0.01 microfarad. And we are replacing it with our 0.022 microfarad. So let's find this guy. He's right next to this IC chip. Right there. Hopefully you guys can see that. Right there. We're going to take that capacitor out, C10, which is right next to this. All right, found it. Let's go ahead and get it desoldered. Pretty sure that's it. I'm just gonna double check. Yeah. All right. Okay, that should be desoldered now. See if I can get this little guy. And this one is small. Yep, there we go. And we're gonna put this big old honking fella in there because I don't have anything smaller. That's okay. That's all right. All right, so now we're going to replace the last cap on here, which is C10, with our last mod value component. All right, so bend our leads, and let's solder it in. There we go. Now we're done. Clip the leads, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Just put it back together now. That's the completed mod. And if you wonder what this sounds like, go back on my channel, and there is a comparison of what this mod sounds like compared to a stock DS1. I hope everybody enjoyed this and maybe learned something. Everybody take care. Bye.